All right. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the YWCA Family Resource Center. That's whY2K. Gen Z has the floor. Tonight is the very first episode. I am your host, Nisa Muhammad, and I serve as the Community Outreach Coordinator at the FRC. Joining us this evening is Destiny McCarter.
Hey, everybody.
And Stanley Stepmeyer.
Hi, everyone.
And so this evening, we are going to get into a wonderful conversation. Beforehand, again, I just want to thank you all and let you know that That's whY2K is an opportunity for Gen Z to really have a platform to speak about the things that matter to them. It's an opportunity for them to really have the floor and express themselves and find solutions that work. Because right now, the situation as far as COVID and going to school and just living life looks a lot different than anything we've ever seen. So we thank you all for tuning in. We hope that through the conversation that is had here tonight, that everyone is able to find a resolve or find a solution, and that everyone is able to feel some type of understanding and connection to another person. So let's get into episode one. Yay, I'm super excited to be here. So this episode, we are focusing on throwing shade to colorism, right? And if our co-hosts just want to introduce themselves real quick, tell who they are, something fun about themselves, tell the people who you are, and anyone can start.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. I am Destiny McCarter. I serve as an AmeriCorps member with the Birmingham Education Foundation, which is like super fun. And a fun thing about myself, so many things, so many things. Number one right now for me is I'm working on an EP. That's fun. So.
Ooh, nice.
My name is Stanley Stoudemire. I'm a sophomore at John Carroll Catholic High School. And one fun thing about myself is that right now I'm working on a big research project about Black history.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it sounds like we're going to be seeing both your names in lights pretty soon here, like really amazing news articles about the wonderful things you're doing. That is super, super amazing. Okay, well, as I said, I am Nisa Muhammad. Interesting thing about me, I wrote a book once. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's dive right into the topic here. So does anyone have anything to share as far as like what's going on in the world today or what's happening with society?
Okay, I have something that I thought was very interesting. So the other day, I saw an article on Facebook where Simone Biles, the gymnast, was being penalized for doing things that nobody else could do. I thought that was very interesting. And I believe this is like incredibly recent. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I feel a little bit like confused because I thought the whole point of competing was to do things that nobody else could do.
Yeah. And kind of like make your mark and be that one.
So it kind of makes you just be like, so why? Why do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Stanley? Anything that you've read about or anything that you found out about that kind of stood out to you?
Nothing really stands out to me right now. One thing that I did see is that a lot of Beverly Hills police officers in LA, when they're being recorded, what they'll do now is play copyrighted music from like the Beatles. So that way, anything that they do can't really gain traction.
Wow.
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 That is interesting. I'm definitely going to have to do my research on that because the copyright infringement. That's wow. Technology, a gift and a curse, people.
Wow.
Goodness. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I know of. All I really have really is that we we're here. Like I feel like that's a big moment. Just with a lot of the things that are going on with COVID and everything, I feel as though like the fact that platforms like this are able to exist, the fact that students are finding a way to navigate through school, that's news in itself to me. So I'm super excited about that for your education as students, for the educators to be able to do what they love, and for the world to grow from that. So that's the news for me.
I like
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's get into Black History facts because it is February, it is Black History Month, right?
this,
And
ma'am.
so, yeah, so we're going to share a really cool Black History fact in 30 seconds. I don't have my timer with me, but I think I can pretty much gauge, right? So today is February the 13th, right?
Yes,
Okay, so
ma'am.
February 13th. So did you guys know that on this day, February 13th, in 1982, the first African American performers, the World Fair Colored Opera Company is what they were called, they appeared at Carnegie Hall. So that's a
Yes,
pretty cool fact.
I like
Yeah,
that.
That's nice.
absolutely. I definitely love that. So that, everyone, is Black History in 30 seconds. So yeah, thank you all for playing.
Are there prizes? 'Cause I feel like
The prize is that you know a new fact. That's the prize there.
I'll take that. I'll take it. I got
Yeah,
first place.
absolutely.
So
Yeah. So if one of you, Destiny or Stanley, either one, whoever's comfortable, so let's get into it. So we're going to talk about colorism. We're going to talk about how it affects us as men, as women. We're going to talk about the importance of it. But first, we want to define what colorism is, right? Because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people hear the term. A lot of people may use it, but they don't really know what it is.
right.
So I mean, it's up to any of you if you want to share, or I can share. It's totally up to you.
Can I give you like
Yes.
a short and Destiny version of what colorism is?
We love Destiny versions. Let's go.
Okay. Colorism is where one particular color within the same race is being elevated over the other for no apparent reason.
Hmm.
There's no clear reason why one should be over the other, or you know what I'm saying? Like yeah. That's
Okay.
the short and Destiny version of what colorism is.
Okay. Stanley, are we taking that? Do we like that?
I like it. That's a pretty great definition.
I'll take it. All right. So when one over the other, certain group, no reason.
No reason.
No reason.
No reason. All right, let's take it. So yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is, the short Destiny version. If you check with Webster, it says that it's prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people, like Destiny said, of the same ethnic or racial group, right? So um where does, for us as Black people, because we can only speak from our own experiences, where does colorism even come from? Why is it a thing in our community, do you think?
I think part of colorism is it stems from like this deep, almost bias towards like after slavery and during slavery, we were told that like being black is bad and having dark skin is bad and having pale skin is the only thing that you should have and that you should aspire towards something that doesn't even make sense since it's not something that you can change about yourself.
Mm.
On the money.
Um, I mean slavery right there because you know they slave owners had their way of dividing and um creating a mental state that kept Black people complacent, that kept them under their control. And so what happened was the closer you were to white, the better, And so now there's this division because if you can keep a people divided, there's no there's like they can't go far. You know what I'm saying? Like a house divided against itself can't stand. So I think it was rooted in slavery, and because we didn't really take time to heal it after slavery because we didn't have those type of tools and resources, it's continued and recreated itself over the years.
Yeah, I definitely think both of you are right. And I like how Destiny, you said like after slavery, we really didn't have time to heal it. If you think about it, like right after we were emancipated, right, then there was like Jim Crow and all of that stuff. So it was really further feeding that whole mindset of like this against that. If you can put the darker against the lighter, the old against the young. And then we really kind of developed like that crab in a barrel mindset of like, okay, you can't be better or look better or do better. So I'm going to have to pull you here. And unfortunately, many generations later, it looks that same way, just in terms of, lighter, brighter, better, darker, not the best. And that's, just how society has kind of put it out to us.
Mhm.
So, what do you think about when you hear, or have you ever even heard the sayings like, stay out the sun, you don't want to get too dark, or, oh, you're as black as midnight, or, oh, you know, you're such a pretty girl for a dark skin, or, he's cute for a brown skin guy. Like, what does that do for you, or what does it do to you as an individual?
Okay, so I've heard a lot of those phrases because I'm chocolate, okay? I'm all chocolate, all right? I ain't never been light. Um so, so growing up, I definitely heard some of those things like you need to stay out the sun, like because I was an outside child, and true enough, during the summertime, I got a little more, even more chocolate than I already was. So I heard that a lot, and I also had this one boyfriend, he would tell me I've never dated a dark skinned girl before. I'm just like he was like he made it seem like he was making an exception for me, and I was just like, is that supposed to like be a compliment? Because that don't sit right with me in my spirit. Mm-mm. Don't say that to people. That don't. Mm-mm. So yeah, definitely had those experiences.
Me personally, I've never had like an experience with colorism, but I've seen it affect people where they're like, well, I don't want to hang out with this person, or I don't want to start talking with this person because I like a lighter shade, or I don't like a dark skinned girl.
Nice. Now, Matthew, or sorry, Matthew, that's our other panelist here. Stanley, you were saying that, like you haven't experienced it for yourself. Do you think that as a male, right, do you think that men are often left out of the conversation of colorism because it doesn't happen as much, or is it just something that isn't paid attention to?
I think for men, it's almost like a perpetuation of it, where like men are like often given the role of like, well, do you want this or this? And sometimes people make it out to be where, how do I say this? Like you're told growing up that you should want a lighter skinned girl because that's what you want to get in like a girlfriend or a wife. When in all reality, it shouldn't be about their skin tone. It should be about who they are as a person. And I think that men are often forced to like try and almost figure that out on their own. And sometimes they're not able to figure that out.
Wow. Yeah, no, yeah, I love it. Absolutely. And I have heard, as from a female's perspective, I have heard like my um brothers get the talk, from like our grandparents, where it's like you should get the girl who's the lighter skin because you don't want your child to be, super brown skin or something like that. So I love it. Thank you. So we touched very briefly like on talking to someone or dating someone who may be like a different skin tone. What do you guys think? Colorism in dating, or is it preference or is it color struck? When you say, I only like this person because they look, or I only prefer light skin, I only prefer dark skin.
Um, I think really it's a cultural type of, how uh the picture is out there. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get into like school and stuff like that, or you start paying attention to what you're watching, the the programming is this is what is preferred, and this is what, like certain certain images is like, okay, so the lighter skinned girls, they're not as ghetto or as this or as angry or whatever. And then when you look at a dark skinned woman, they're always portrayed as the angry one, the nagging, the not so put together or stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it's preference more as in, or if it's programming. It's not, I don't know if it's preference, color stroke, or just programming, because that's what's put out there. That's the image um that you're being shown. It's like, that's why the phrase representation matters is so important, especially now, because if you don't represent a certain thing in a certain way, then people are going to look at it and be like, they're going to make their own assumptions, and they're going to be making assumptions based off of what been seen. So if all you see is angry dark skinned women, your thought is, oh, I need a light skinned woman because she's not going to be angry all the time. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're seeing like dark skinned women with their hair always toe up and being loud and ghetto, you're gonna think, oh, I need a light skinned woman because she gonna look good and she gonna know how to act in public. That's my take on that.
What about you, Stanley? What do you think? Do you think that dating a like if someone has like just a history of date, like there's a certain celebrity I have in mind who has a history of dating lighter skin tone women, and they're like, oh, this person is color struck. And some people are like, oh, this is just their preference. And Destiny has introduced programming to the option of the menu. So what do you think? What is your take on that?
Well, I think that oftentimes the preference is mostly due to programming, like Destiny said, where like a lot of people have a preference, but their preference only exists because they've been programmed. But I think that preference in programming is almost different than being color struck, where someone is just has this deep I don't know how you would say it, where they can only see black beauty in light skinned people.
Mhm. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So does that make it like for the people who decide like they make themselves or they become aware of their preference or their program's preference, what does it look like when they, or how does it, I guess, how would they transcend to um, trying to date outside of their normal preference without coming off as overly infatuated, if you will, or just kind of, you know how it is, like kind of, I don't want to say creepy, but it's like you're doing this to prove a point to everyone, but you be true to yourself. So how, what would that transcend look like? What would that transition look like for them?
I think that transition has to look like almost like instead of like only looking for dark skinned girls or only looking for light skinned girls, just opening your eyes more and just trying to find someone regardless of what skin tone they have.
Yeah, I agree. I think it if you start by like deciding, hey, I'm gonna look for characteristics or like, you know, who they are as a person rather than what they look like as far as skin tone, I think that's a good way to start, you know, because
Mhm.
now it's not superficial, you know. It's like, oh, well, I like people with sense of humor. So if you got a sense of humor, I can rock with you. You know what I mean? Or I like people who can sing. And now you're just hanging around people who can sing no matter what they look like. You know what I'm saying? It's start from the inside out. Don't box people in based on skin tone. Like get to know the people that you know you're around and judge them based on that, not by what you've been told, but based on what you know, what you've learned yourself.
I like that. Stanley, you heard her. We can't, she can't hang out with us because we don't sing.
That's not what I
Um,
said.
no, I literally heard it. You heard it too, right,
No,
Stanley? She's
I
like,
heard
you
it.
don't sing.
no, that's not what I
Stanley
said.
heard it too.
What I
Sorry.
said was, if I like people that can sing and you can
Mm.
sing, I can hang with you, but that doesn't mean that's the only people I hang with.
Oh, because I can't hold a note in a bucket with a lid. So, I'm kind of out of luck here.
And yet
Yeah,
I love you anyway. I don't know.
I'm receiving all of that. So I definitely agree with both of you are saying. I think that it has to look, if you're going to transition from, recognizing that you have a certain type of programmed preference, we'll call it, it then going forward, if you are open to, right? Because if you're going to pursue someone, that has to be a genuine intention there, not just I'm doing this to prove to everyone I'm not who you say I am. So there has to be a genuine want to see what is out there without it coming off as a photo opportunity to say, hey guys, look, see, I told you I can switch it up, right? Because then it's a fetish thing. And then it gets into, just something that's not good. It's not healthy for anybody. And it makes the other person kind of feel like, really low about themselves. So I definitely agree with the both of you.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? And this is a think piece. I know we said we can only speak from the Black experience, but I would like to know from your very Black standpoint, do you think that colorism is an issue elsewhere, like as big as an issue is as it seems to be within the Black community?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm actually seeing a post on Instagram where they were talking about like Indian cultures or even Asian cultures where the darker you are, the less accepted you are in that culture. And it's crazy because you don't like me as a Black woman. It's easy to be like, oh, it's just us, like we just can't get it together. But no, this is something that's like across the board. Like people are just crazy to think that the darker your skin tone, the worse you are as a person. So it's definitely in more places.
Right. I saw Sunny Hostin from The View. She was doing an interview about growing up and how in the Latino community there's another colorism issue where because like I believe her father was considered white on the island and her mother was considered Black on the island. And so whenever she would go with her father's family, they would talk about, oh, there she goes, it's that dark skinned girl. And whenever she'd go with her mom's family, they talk about how light skinned she was.
Mm.
And I feel like it's something that is almost like a different form of problem outside of the Black community, because like in the inside of the Black community, it's this unifying experience of being Black wherever you are. But in other places, there's so many different cultures that it's like this almost pervasive entity.
Mm.
Wow, you get into a whole nother subsection of it. Yeah, absolutely. It is something that I have also noticed. Where it's like the forefront, especially going back to like the media and the programming, the forefront of what we see when we think of like the Latinx community, or when we think of like even the Asian community or anything like that, we think, like the fair skin, you think of specific, right? Like if I say a pretty Puerto Rican celebrity, everyone's like, oh, J-Lo off the top, right? Nobody thinks of like, the other Spanish representatives that are in the celebrity world, like Amara de la Negra. They don't think of like Christina Milian, like the darker toned ladies. Um, or even the darker toned men. And I used to work with a woman who was from Brazil, and she told me that in Brazil, she's considered to be oh goodness, she's considered to be like not bad because she's a light skin. She's considered not, it's not a bad thing, but it's almost something like that's a no-no, because the majority of the people actually are super brown skin, but that's not what people know outside of Brazil. So she's considered like kind of like the strange one where she's from, but here she's considered the norm, right? Because when you think Brazil, nobody thinks brown skin, curly hair. They think, the beautiful fair skin, the exotic look and all that good stuff. So I definitely think that it's not just colorism isn't just a Black issue, but it is one of those things where it happens within every ethnicity, every dynamic there. Yeah.
You said something about how certain skin tones are brought to the forefront, and that reminded me of something. I know I keep going back to social media, but let's be real.
It's okay. Listen, it's
Um,
2021.
yeah, it's 2021. Ain't nobody got nothing to do, COVID. Anyways, so so um, there was talk about the first woman to actually say seated on the bus. You know how Rosa Parks is the one that is credited for that, but there's actually someone who did it before her. And if you look at her pictures, she's a little bit darker, like she's a darker skin tone. And there was this thing that was like, so I wonder, can y'all guess why she wasn't the face of the movement? And I've always wondered, like, if somebody else was doing it before Rosa, why? I mean, not to take away from Rosa Parks because she did her thing. Sis was tired, she wasn't getting up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm wondering, like, does that play a part in why they went with it? Because Rosa Parks was a little bit lighter than the woman who did it first. So it's like, is it because that woman was darker, or is it because Rosa had more connections? Because that could be a part of it too. But when you just look at the difference, it makes you think like, because
Yeah.
y'all knew Homegirl did that. So why didn't it spark then instead of waiting for Rosa Parks to, like, for her to go through it too? Just a think piece, not necessarily accusing anybody of anything because we don't really know. We weren't there. It could just be that Rosa Parks had those friends that was gonna ride for her regardless. You know what I'm saying? It could be something like that.
She had the friends who were going to get in the Suburban and drive all the way out of town and come get them. Yeah,
Yeah,
we all have those
yeah,
friends.
that,
Call them when you need them.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I definitely and you tied to social media, which is perfect because that's where we're going next, with how colorism is displayed in the media, right? And how it has an effect on, those who watch it. And we've been saying it the entire episode. Programming, right? It's subconscious programming, absolutely. To the point where have you all ever been watching a movie or TV show? It could be whatever TV show you want, live action, right? So it's like actual people. Um, and have you ever noticed that if there is a married couple, a married Black couple, the husband is usually of a darker skin tone, the mother is of a fairer skin tone, the children are a nice, safe mix, but there's always that one child who is of a lighter skin tone, and they're typically the child with probably the most lines, probably the most action going on in their lives. So you have to kind of follow what they have going on, and it's something that is represented so much that we never even notice.
Hmm. Or let's, I mean, commercials. How there's never, you can't get like a full just Black family. It's got to be, either mixed, or like you said, one of the parents is darker than the other. It's never just like that full chocolate, glistening chocolate family. And it's out there. And it's in multiple, it's not just like one company. Like, there is plenty of commercials you could pick out where there's no full, and if there is a Black chocolate family, one of the parents is missing.
Mhm.
Can we guess which one?
Usually the father.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Which is
sounds about right.
no need to beat around the bush because it is what it is. It's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So can I ask, Stanley, like, what are your thoughts on this? Have you ever had any type of a like aha moment, or I wonder why, or if you're like me, have you ever like dug into Google and just went down a rabbit hole of information?
So I was on social media one time, and it was this summer, and um, I saw this thing about like colorism in the media and how an example of it was like the career of like Zendaya, an incredibly talented, wonderful actress. who has gotten a multitude of opportunities across Hollywood. And in most of, like, take Casey Undercover on Disney Channel, where it was all an all black family, and yet she always got more speaking lines than everyone else. And so it's just almost this weird moment where you have to at least wonder if a lot of the roles that Zendaya gets are because that she's of a lighter complexion than a lot of her other compatriots that she works with.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, she's wonderful, she's accomplished, and I'm definitely a fan of the workings that she does, but it is one of those things where it's like, um, are you chosen specifically because it is the best way to say we filled the quota? We have someone who is Black here. It doesn't matter that they're a few shades lighter. Here's your representation. Eat it and enjoy. And sometimes it does look like that, where if we do get representation, and I'm speaking from a brown skinned woman's perspective, if we get the representation, then the girl is usually the mean girl, or she's usually the overly, like, finger snapping, neck rolling, oh, we gonna be bad about it. Like, it's never like, she can never just be peaceful and calm and all the things that brown skinned Black women are. You know what I mean? It's never just the calm, yeah, laid back, easy chill. It's always when there's action needed that she comes around, or if they need someone to play the mean girl, um, or even if they need someone to take, like, to be just like that OMG, like in certain movies you'll see that where it's like that one of us where we're just like, yeah, totally, okay, let's do this. So I definitely wonder where the roles for the girls with a little more melanin to them, where they can be normal everyday girls,
Mm-hmm.
not the side act, or not the comedic piece, but just the regular, boom, where they can be their Casey Undercover.
Yeah. It kind of like I sometimes I think about how like a movie or a show, like maybe at the start of it they have like a darker skinned girl, and then somewhere within the movie or the series now the girl is lighter skinned, and it's almost like you couldn't let the brown skinned girl just shine for a little bit, just for this much. You had to, okay. So like it's like, why can't they just finish the role? They started it. Why can't they
And they were
finish?
doing well.
They were doing very well. And that's the thing. They'll be killing it and still get switched.
Now, as far as like the men go, like, do we outside of like seeing them, of course, like with the lighter spouse, have you guys noticed any type of a pattern, or just anything where it's kind of like, if this were a male of a different type of skin tone, like a lighter skin tone, then the movie role would be different, or this would be different?
Yes, so I when I think of like men experiencing colorism in like the acting industry, it almost seems like the reverse is true, where like they're looking for like tall, dark chocolate men to play the "hello, I'm here to help you" type of role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody but Tyler Perry, right? Because he
Right.
he always switches it. And much love to Tyler, because we've all grown up on him, but he does have like the tall, dark chocolate man. He's usually the guy you have to get away from to find the nice, even skin tone gentleman. But that's definitely interesting. Have you, Destiny, Stanley brought up a good point. It's usually reversed, where it's the tall, dark, handsome, as the saying goes, that gets, like, the moment to shine.
Mhm.
What about you? Have you noticed anything for our men?
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, social media. um, when you think about the way it's represented there, like light skinned men are these weak and like overly emotional, or even sometimes players are the pretty boys, like too pretty to be true type thing. And then the darker guys are like, oh, they're the strong ones. They got this and that, and they're firm, not overly firm, but just like the one that'd be like, oh, that's so nice. The confident,
Yeah.
you know, just stable in their emotions, like certain things like that, especially when it comes to HBCU culture, when you think
Ooh,
about the fraternities and how um just like maybe Kappas are like they're generally, or that's what is stereotyped, they're generally light skins, and so they're considered emotional or even sometimes gay. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but just saying that just based on the fact that they're light skinned, that's how they are perceived, compared to like a darker skinned guy. They don't automatically go, oh, if he's this color and he's in that fraternity, he's gay. Like they don't do that. I mean, that's just, yeah.
yeah. Like they adopt multiple, unfortunately, they adopt these multiple labels that maybe they, that don't even fit them possibly because of like, literally they're a fair skin tone or they're a
Right.
darker skin tone. Yeah, I definitely could see that. Especially like if I tell people all the time I'm a hood movie watcher. I like all the black movies, even though some of them are like, did you really make this?
Yeah.
But if you ever like pay attention to certain themes, like um certain themes have the darker skinned male as more aggressive. They usually get like these thug roles. They're usually like, very rough around the edges. And then you get like that one movie where, it might be a love story. And the love story has like this really handsome man who might be of a fair skin. And he's just like, every girl's everything. And she's, oh, he's the most handsome man in the world. Versus, the darker skinned guy, he gets like, the deadbeat dad or the guy trying to turn his life around but he just can't seem to do right. So I definitely think that within movies there's that stigma. And even within music, think about how people talk about Drake. Like, Drake versus Meek Mill, like how people handle the two of them, when in reality, I could probably take them both, to be honest. I feel like I could win against either one. So it's
Yeah.
definitely something there with that. Yeah. So really quick, we are going to because we still have some time, but I want to get into a definition really quick. So color struck, we talked about it earlier, right? And I was just blabbing away about it, and Destiny was, and Stanley just he kept going about it. But color struck, we didn't talk about the definition. So basically, it's an old saying among African Americans that refers to individuals who believe that a lighter complexion and the European feature, the straight hair, the simple nose, the not so full features here, they believe that they represent the epitome, right? Not just a little bit, but the epitome of beauty and desirability. And the term color struck, I didn't know this, it was popularized by the infamous Zora Neale Hurston after a play that she had called Colorstruck. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. So we're going to come back to Colorstruck. I wanted to get that definition out so you guys can kind of let it marinate, right? And then we're going to come back and put it in the fryer and make something with it in a minute. Let me ask you, have you guys ever sat and thought to yourself, am I colorstruck? Do I ever see someone of a certain skin tone and associate attributes to them because of my programming?
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, when I think about it, probably yeah, like younger, because when I was younger, Chris Brown, he was popping baby, okay, and because of that image, it probably affected the kind of boys that I liked as a youngin, just youngin. And but as I got older, I started to like realize it doesn't their skin tone doesn't really matter. And it's like, but I can definitely see where I was color stuck as a young, like as I'm older now, I can tell like, I'm changing, I'm evolving as a person. I'm starting to realize like, hey, that ain't cause nah. But as a younger woman, that's what's out there. This is who, like I said, Chris Brown, this is Drake, this is this and that. This is he's top of the line. That's what you need to be reaching for. Like he's gonna do things and be this and be that. And I'm just Yeah. You're right. I'm gonna go
Come
find it.
back, Destiny. Come back. Come back. You're a big kid now. Come back. Let go, Chris.
But that's. I mean, to answer the
Yeah.
question,
What about you?
it's out there. Yeah.
For me, it's never really been a big thing for me, but there have been times where I've noticed that I'll like see it and I'll be like, well, I don't know if that's something that I like would want. And then I'm like, well, I don't know if that's something that I'd even really like care about. Because it's one of those things that you think it's one of the things like programming tells you should be really important.
Mm-hmm.
But I think growing up tells you that it's not actually important. That it's one of those superficial things, like Destiny said, that kind of you lose as you evolve over time, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Stanley, you the bomb.com. You really, I like how you make your point. You're just like, boom, mic drop, right? I love it. I absolutely agree with the both of you. It is something that over time evolves, right? For me, my mother is super brown skin, right? I mean, so rich in melanin. I feel like God took extra doses from all of her children and like gave them to her. Like she's so beautifully brown, right? Um, but growing up, she did have to kind of deal with the colorism that came with that, right? And so as I was growing up, I would kind of hear her say things that she didn't realize were little seeds, of just kind of paying attention to how people of different skin shades kind of get treated. And so for a while in high school, I was, like boom, like colorism, and you're not going to treat me this way because I'm brown skinned. Like I was all for it, right? And there was a point in time where I would only date a guy who was of a certain skin tone because I was not color struck because of me, color struck by association, because I thought I was fighting the good fight, for that little girl in my mom. But as I got older, I realized that like you said, it's just one of those things. It's not oh, that's a light skin thing. Oh, that's a brown skin. That's just a people thing. Some people do some things, some people don't do some things, and so I've evolved from that as well. But I definitely had a moment where I was color struck by association. Yeah, and I definitely try to, make sure sometimes, even in discussing celebrities, I'm like, whew, because a brown skin celebrity wouldn't do that. I try to make sure that that's not the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So another question for y'all. Y'all know I'm coming with all the good questions and all the brainstorm questions here. Y'all know what pretty privilege is, right? Okay, so for our listeners who may not know, pretty privilege is basically like, oh, she cute, so she can get away with that. Oh, he fine, so he can waste my time. That's really basically what it is. So, pretty privilege is basically what it sounds like. You are afforded opportunities and things because you are appealing to someone's eye. Do you think that such a thing as pretty privilege would still be existent if colorism was not a factor for people? I know, right? Intersectionality like a mug. And we can start like if you're ready, Stanley, we can definitely start with you. I would love to hear what you think.
I think colorism is a major part of pretty privilege. I don't know if it would get rid of it. Like if colorism disappeared, then pretty privilege would disappear. Because I think pretty privilege is just like something that has developed over time with people where I like this person and I think they're cute and I want them to like me. So I'm going to like let them get away with this, but just this once. And I think that colorism is a pretty big part of that because like it's specifically with like the privilege part of that, like because if you were darker, I wouldn't let you get away with this, but because you're lighter, it's okay this one time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you said just this one time. It's not gonna happen again today, but tomorrow catch me. I got you. I definitely agree. What do you think, Destiny?
I think I agree with Stanley. Like, I don't know if it would get rid of it completely, but it definitely plays a part in it. Because when you think about the image of who does get away with things like certain situations, or like in movies, you see like how a pretty girl can do certain things but just because she's pretty, or exactly, she bat her eyes and she swings her hair and all of a sudden she has everything she wanted. um I mean, I don't think colorism would really completely get rid of it, but it plays a part.
Yeah. I think when I think about it, I try to think in terms of like, if people were able to only um, focus on the features of others, because really that's what kind of composes you as a beautiful individual, right? We're all beautiful to some. I tell myself all the time, and I tell people all the time, we all ugly to somebody, right? We're not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people drink pop, some people drink water, some people drink juice, some for everybody. However, I think if folks were to literally just focus on what it is you see reflecting from that person. And I know that may sound like really cheesy, but what do you see reflecting? How do they handle themselves in situations of distress? How do they approach you? How do they treat people who may not be like on the same level as them socially? Then you take away like the visual aspect of it, and you get to see like, okay, this person is afforded the privilege of my time and my efforts because they are a decent human being, right? So I think pretty privilege really it could focus on your pretty attributes. If colorism wasn't a thing, pretty privilege could still be, a thing as well. So I definitely agree. If there were no colorism, then people could still look at her and go, oh, she's cute. So I'm gonna let her, I like her nose and her lips and her eyes. So I'm gonna let her have this.
Yeah.
Or oh, he's cute. I like his this, his that. So I'm gonna let him have this. So I definitely think it would still exist. It just wouldn't be so focused on light skin, pretty, brown skin, handsome type of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we got to start wrapping it up, which kind of makes me sad because I love talking to you all. So let's just, do 20 seconds or less. So y'all can see Destiny's getting excited. So 20 seconds or less is the game that was composed over the summer when me and Destiny did a podcast, wonderful, wonderful podcast, Flora Pearl podcast. Check it out on YouTube. But so 20 seconds or less, what's going to happen, Stanley? Be prepared because it gets real. We are going to give you a category, right? And you have to, or a word or something, and you have to do whatever we ask you to do. Name something, 5 singers, 5 fruits, whatever, within 20 seconds or less. Okay, are you down for the game?
I'm down.
All right, so I'm gonna start my timer. I love it. He's like, give it to me. Let's do this. So let me ask you, and I want to be fair because you are a newbie to the world of 20 seconds or less. How socially versed are you on things like, music, pop culture, things like that?
I think I'm socially, I think I know enough.
Okay.
But I don't know what I don't know.
And I don't know what I don't know. And what I don't know is what I'm going to ask you yet. I'm buying time. See what I did there? Okay, so let's see. I think I've got a good one. Can you name, in 20 seconds or less, can you name 5 songs by, I don't know, Destiny, give me someone. Because everyone I'm thinking of, I'm like, it's people you guys wouldn't know. They're like old school singers. Like, I know you don't know who Betty Wright is. I'm old in my head. Let's see. Oh. Can you give me 5 songs from Lil Uzi Vert? If you cannot, we will try it again because I can't even. You gonna try it? I've got a better one. Okay, ready? 5 songs with the word good in the title.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Good. Songs with good. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling.
It's because you know you're being timed. Watch this. I paused the timer. Can you name a song?
Good times.
See, I told you. It's because the timer was on. It's the timer every time. I'll take it. Good times. Destiny, help Stanley out. What do you got?
Ooh.
That's not your question, but go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. I'm good with that. 5 songs were good in it.
Yeah, or give him just another one.
He already said good time. I'm
did,
really
yeah.
trying to think because I mean, even even without the timer, good is kind of hard. I
Is
got to
it?
think about that. Feels good to be alive.
Ah,
Um,
feels good. It feels good.
good love. That's Anita Baker right there.
Oh, yeah. What you know about Nita? She don't know Nita
Good
Stanley.
love, good love.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Stanley, you ready to come up with Destiny's question?
Okay.
He's ready. He's thinking about this.
I feel like I'm in trouble.
You are. I feel it too.
Sticking with the songs. Name 5 songs that have the word. How about this? Name 5 songs by. I'm trying to think of somebody. All right, I'll make it easy. Whitney Houston.
Oh, okay, really quick. Shout out to Nip because her birthday had just passed. Shout out to one of the, if not the greatest vocalists in the game to ever sing the national anthem. Okay. All right, Destiny, 5 songs by Whitney Houston. 3,
Oh my God.
2, 1.
Dance with somebody. Dang, this is hard because I'm being timed. I will always love you. What's the one that I was doing? I believe children are our future. I don't know the name of it right now, but I know it.
You hear that? What is that called? I believe that you will. I figured that. I'm gonna Google you and text you because I can't remember either.
Inside. I can't think of it.
That's gonna drive us crazy. Stanley, what's the name of the song?
It's
Most of all, something like that.
Oh, Greatest Love of All.
Greatest Love of All, yes.
Man. Wow, we all have Saturday brain.
Yes. I can hear the song, but I couldn't just get
it. Man.
Dang.
Well, that's it. We don't have to play any more games. All right.
No. Don't think that you're really finna get out of this one, sis.
I'm not dressed for the occasion. You both look so excellent. I should probably go.
But your hair is dead, which means you look excellent. Parrot.
Yeah. All right. What's my 20 seconds or less? I'm not scared. I'm a little terrified, but I'm not scared.
Okay. Since all of us have been doing songs, I'll stick with songs. Okay.
Okay.
Let's get 5 songs from our guy Drake.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Can I start the timer? Okay, you don't.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this because I can't. Can't trust you.
Drop a song in the chat real quick, Stanley. Okay, 5 songs by Drake. Tell me when to start. No. Oh God. Worst behavior. Just hold on, I'm coming home. Oh God, finesse. Take care. The crew. And something Underground Kings, right? Hey, I got it. I
can't even hate on you. I'm
Wow. Thank you. Drake, sponsor me. I know your music. I'm your biggest fan. Run me my sponsor. All right. I love that. So be thinking of y'all 20 seconds or less ideas next week, because it's gonna be one of those things where somebody's aiming to win each time. Right now, I've got the crown.
I feel as if we should let the audience pick a couple of them.
Yes, that would be super, super amazing. So in the chat, you guys, when we have our Q&A after this, our little 30-minute recap, drop your suggestions, okay? If you want to see Destiny juggle and Stanley like do the running man, like, drop that in there. We'll do.
First of all, there are rules to this. Let's do things that are attainable because Destiny juggling, that's a reach.
Stanley, tell her to stop hating on her potential. You got this. We believe in you. Okay, it's February. We get extra powers this month. We got this.
But let me.
All right. So, never mind. Never mind. We take that back. We take that back. So our final word check-in, and audience, you are more than welcome to drop it in the chat to let us know during the Q&A recap. But we want to make sure you're doing all right. We got into some heavy stuff. We talked about some things that sometimes aren't okay to talk about, or some people are just like, I don't want to have this heavy convo. So I appreciate you too for stepping in and stepping up and offering your voices for something as strong as talking about colorism. So on a good note, how you feeling? Yeah, it can be one word. Yeah, how you feeling right now? We done talked about colorism. We done cured cancer with this thing. How you feeling about it?
I feel humbled that I would even be invited to this conversation, that I get to share this platform with the two of you who are so, just great and intelligent and, just the best of the best. I'm humbled.
I'm excited that I got to do this. I mean, I didn't expect that I'd get a chance to do something like this. So this has been really fun for me. Thank you guys for letting me come on with you guys.
Of course. No, before I get to my word, I definitely want to express, and we talked about it in our meet and greet, but when thinking of young people who have a lot to say and who have like really wonderful leadership skills, me and Miss Humphrey, that is my supervisor, we definitely like, we want Stanley, we want Destiny, we want Matthew, and you all didn't get to meet him, audience, but he will be showing up hopefully for our Q&A recap session. He has some things he had to take care of, but much love to Matthew for even agreeing and meeting with us in the beginning of all this. But yeah, we thought of your brilliant minds and we said we want to have this conversation. We want to kick it off with them. We want them to make the splash. And you came in here, and like I said, Stanley, after everything, you just sat back like drop. That's it. No more combo needed. So I appreciate it. I am honored. I'm humbled, and I thank both of you so much. Because this wouldn't have happened without you at all. I would just be sitting here talking to myself, and nobody wants that. That's why I don't have a YouTube channel. Because nobody wants to see that. So on my final good note, I will say that I am enlightened. I'll say that you two have definitely enlightened me. You have shown me that regardless of what may be said about Gen Z, that this platform, with you all taking the floor, with you all having your way and your time to speak, you all are going to do astronomically well. So I thank you so much.
Thank you.